Hi everyone, welcome back to Diving Deep. Today's episode is all about attachment and how to let go of things that no longer serve you.
Yeah, most of us have a lot of things that we're attaching to and that we're internally causing ourselves quite a bit of resistance with. So today we're going to dive deep into all things attachment and suffering and how you can finally let things go once and for all. So yeah,
let's go.
Comfortable. So attachment.
Yeah.
Why
do we attach to things?
I don't know. End podcast. I don't know.
That's it.
I'm not sure. I feel like as humans, we're hardwired to attach to things. Like, even as a baby, you attach to your parents. And I know that's a survival instinct.
Yeah.
And then toys come in like to play and you're like, no, that's my toy, that's my block.
Yeah.
And your parents are like, this is yours. It's such identification with like, this is your thing.
Yeah. We do, don't we? We identify with it, which is interesting. And I think maybe it's to do with security as well. To feel like something's yours and that you kind of have ownership over something.
Yeah. And how mad is that? We do that from like a young age.
Yeah. Straight away.
Yeah.
And we're, like you say, when we're toddlers fighting over a toy.
Playing with Lego or something and we're like, that's mine. And you fight with your friends or something. You're like, no, that's my doll. Like, that's mine. We're already so ego-driven within... like as soon as we come out of the womb.
Well, think how narcissistic toddlers are. Yeah, it's like it's mine, this, that. Yeah, is what they. We're driven by identification to things straight away.
I didn't even think about that, about the lingo that we're like taught to use. Obviously, parents, as they teach children growing up, it's like share, like this is ours and things like that. But toddlers are narcissistic and they're like, this is my toy, this is like my lolly, my food. And that's what we're brought up with. Yeah. So no wonder when we're born, everything becomes identification with us and ours, and we're attached to that.
Yeah. It makes sense, doesn't it, when you look at that? And I think as well, like as we get older, I don't know about you, but sometimes I find it hard to let go of things because I really struggle with the idea of being a quitter. So sometimes I'm like, I can make the best out of this situation, so I'll keep smacking my head against a wall with it. Yeah. Until it finally like breaks me.
So you've equated like quitting with like failing, kind of.
A little bit, maybe.
Yeah.
Like,
or letting go of something is, I failed. Like,
yeah,
I've got to let that go. I think
letting go can sometimes be a painful thing to do and be a difficult thing to do, because sometimes you don't know that it's time to let go of something, and other times you do know, but you're sort of in denial because it's so uncomfortable.
Yeah. What is it that... Here we go with quotes again. So let's start the quotes.
Go on,
it's an unfamiliar... A familiar hell is better than an unfamiliar heaven.
Yeah, because we stay stuck in these things that we know aren't serving us sometimes, because we cling on to something that we know is bad for us because it feels safer than the unknown of letting go of that.
Yeah.
I think.
And do you feel like... I feel like when I have something that I know I need to let go of, there's that part of my brain that's just lit up being like, no, cling on, like literally like clinging on for dear life. Yeah. And then there's part of me going, just let go. And then I guess that's probably ego. And I feel like attachment is your ego. Yeah. Attachment can't be your higher self. And obviously we'll hopefully do an episode at some point about like ego, higher self, differentiation between them. But your ego wants identification, so it wants to think that everything is its and theirs and mine, and create a kind of identity out of whatever you can attach to.
Yeah, and it's trying to understand if that is your ego or whether it is like your higher self, isn't it? Because it's difficult sometimes to know that. Yeah. But I think if something's taken away from you and you feel like it's part of your identity that's taken away, like you feel that pain inside you, then it's a clear sign, okay, I was too attached to whatever it is.
A lot of people will be sat here and thinking, well, what's wrong with me attaching to this? Why can't I attach to that? Like, this is my house. Yeah. This is, like, I bought this house. I have a mortgage on this house. This is mine. But I've been thinking about it, and everything is fleeting. Like, your house could burn down in a fire tomorrow. Hope it doesn't, but it could. Yeah. And if you've attached yourself to this house and that house is gone, you're going to be miserable, because then what do you have? Yeah,
because everything's impermanent, like absolutely
impermanence. Yeah,
because if like we're all gonna this is a bit morbid, but we're all going to die, aren't we? Like, we're not,
Yeah.
it isn't, nothing you own is actually going to be yours forever. Like, it's going to be yours maybe whilst you're on Earth, but it's not going to be, everything comes in and out.
It took me a while to understand that, because I think I watched a video on someone saying everything that you've been given, or I think it might have been Jay Shetty's book again. Here we go. Plug Jay Shetty's book. Everything like you're given has been given to you by someone else, if you know what I mean. So like that house was once somebody else's house.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even if you like built the house, those bricks were once somebody else's bricks, and so everything is passed to you. It's never yours. And once you're gone, that house is going to be somebody else's.
Wow.
And so why would you cling to that and attach to that when it's fleeting? There's not one like change is the only constant.
Yeah.
And the fact that I think as humans, we really struggle to deal with that.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's not changing. No, this is staying the same. Like, I'm going to have this, and you don't know what's going to happen. And when you make something your identity, if you make your identity on something that's impermanent, when that thing fades away, your life comes. You'll fade away. You'll fade away. Yeah. If you think about it. Whereas if you've made yourself, like, you kind of are happy in yourself and this is your identity and you don't attach to anything, if it goes, you can be like, okay, it's gone.
Yeah, exactly. Like, for me, I've been living out here for like 10 months now.
And you haven't had like a house of...
Oh, nice. Yeah. But I've lost so much of my stuff. Like, I don't know where half of my belongings have gone.
You said that to me when I came. You were like, where are all my clothes?
I don't know where they are. Like, genuinely don't know where they are. Probably in some washing machine in Thailand. But I've had to kind of go, if I've got my phone and I've got my money and I've got my phone charger, I'm fine. Like, everything else can...
And people will be saying, well, Evie's attached to her phone then, but it's security. It comes back to security. What's the fine line between my parents told me before I was coming out here, because I was like, I'll FaceTime you every week. And I remember my mum saying, when I went traveling and when I moved countries, like in 19 whenever, she was like, we didn't have phones to talk to anyone. Like, we went off without our phones. And I cannot imagine a world like that now.
No.
Not being able to pick up the phone and FaceTime and having fax machines to have to talk to people.
Yeah.
That they didn't have an attachment to their phone because they didn't have a phone.
I wish we could go back to that. I really do. I know it's given us a lot of good as well, technology.
Yeah.
It is a privilege to be able to stay in contact with like my grandparents and people.
Of course, because otherwise you wouldn't,
But what a simple time. Like, just, even my childhood, we didn't have phones and stuff growing up.
Did you not?
No, until I was like a teenager. No.
God, that's really showing our age difference.
Yeah, I know.
We're only like 5 years apart.
Yeah, but it was but I was climbing trees, I was outside, and I think a lot of the older generation get annoyed at younger people's attachment to their phone, when actually, how can they not be attached to it with the society that we're now in?
The society now is online.
Yeah.
And it really, really scares me for future generations. We were talking about this on the beach the other day, weren't we? About it really scares me for the future generations that their life will be online rather than in person, meeting your friends at the park. It will be, oh no, do you want to like catch up on Snapchat and do a video call? Like, how scary is that?
That's really scary.
It's not, do you want to go outside and kick a ball?
Yeah.
It's the scariest thing. And then that's what you become attached to and part of.
Yeah.
I actually had to learn I didn't tell you, I had to learn a lesson of attachment the other day.
Oh, go on.
Of detachment, actually. I had like these rings that I came out with and I really liked them. I went in the sea in Uluwatu and this ring that I really, really loved slipped off my finger and I thought I could catch it in the sea and the ocean, and the oceans were battering me and I was like, no, but then it slipped from my hand. In this split second went. And you know what? At first I was so annoyed and I was like, my ring has gone in the sea, like the ocean has my sea. And then I just was like, you know what? This is a lesson in detaching.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, I love that ring. That ring's not my identity, but I was like, that's my ring.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, within a second, it fell into the ocean. That's Barley's ring now. Like, and I felt something come down on me and I was like, a bit of a laugh, and I was like, you need to detach from that. Detach from all your possessions that you own. Obviously, I love them.
Yeah.
But someone made this ring. It was once their ring.
Yeah.
Maybe someone wore it before and then it came to me.
Yeah.
But now I don't have that ring and it really like stung me.
Did it?
It stung me for like a few hours after, and I was like, I'm so annoyed because if I didn't go in the ocean with my rings, I wouldn't have it. But then I was like, detach, let go.
Yeah. And it's like how quickly you just were in a place where you saw that ring, bought it, then became yours. And then how quickly it can not become yours again because the sea took it.
Because the sea has now. And you know what I kept thinking after? I went, no, that's a gift to Bali. That's a gift to our seagulls. I was like, change the narrative of it. And obviously that's a very lower kind of on the scale, on the spectrum of things, because there'll be people out here who have jobs and who have identities and relationships as well. That's a massive thing, like attached to this relationship and the person you're with. I mean, with regards to jobs, acting, I feel like has taught me the biggest lesson of detachment ever in my life. Like if you're an actor out there, I salute you, because you are constantly being taught the lesson of detachment every single day.
Yeah, literally, with the rejection of it all. And also, even when you do get a job, finally, and you do it, it then ends. And it's like, you've got to let go of that and be happy it happened and everything. So it's literally always,
where we met on set, we were on set for 5 days. And I remember coming out of that set, like bawling my eyes out, because I was like, no, like this was my family, this is my life. Like I lived with you for a little bit. And then it all went, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, it pops the bubble.
How fleeting things are. Just go like that.
And it is, like, there are attachments, as we say, on so many different scales. I mean, think of grief. Like, we attach to our family. They're people that mean a lot to us and we have all these experiences with. And then having to let go of a person is a whole other thing. Probably needs an episode in itself for stuff like that. But it's like, all these situations, we get met with attachment and detachment all the time for our life, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, the main principle as well of like the Buddhist teaching is, Buddha says attachment is the root of all suffering. And he's so right, because it is, because when you attach to something, you suffer when that thing then leaves you. It's like you're left with a hole. Because I always think of it if like you're in a bubble and you're like, okay, I live here, this is my house, these are my friends, this is my job, my relationship. I attach to all these things, but just think if one of them goes, it's like something goes in you and you're like, I have nothing to cling on to, because you put all your energy on this external thing. Once that leaves, you're like left with dust. You're like.
But that space, that hole, is then free for something new. Which is a hard way to look at it sometimes. But I think when something goes, usually something replaces that. And it can be hard. Like sometimes you just think, I'm just gonna be left with a hole now forever. And like I did a Vipassana meditation retreat in February, and that was huge on impermanence. They like taught us all about that, because you just sat for hours a day without talking, just meditating all day.
And Vipassana is silent. Talking, is it? How did you do that? 7 days of no talking?
It was an experience, but it was more painful the more I thought in my head, oh my God, I'm on day 3, I've got 4 days left, this is so long, when's lunch? Like the more you resist that gap, the more you suffer. And the more you actually watch the impermanence of things, the more it actually made it livable.
You see that things like are fleeting all the time. It's like the way monks live. They are attached to nothing. They have probably the clothes on their body, not even much, like a place where they pray and they sleep and they eat and stuff, but they don't attach to things. Like you hear the stories of them in the ashram and things, and they don't attach to anything. They have nothing to attach to. But do you think that brings you more joy, having nothing to attach to? Because I think people might think, what a boring life. If I've got nothing to attach to, I've got nothing to live for.
No, it's a good point. I think living minimalistically can really help. I don't know about other people, but like when I do a culling session at home, when I just get rid of a load of stuff that's just there, that I'm hanging on to for no good reason. I just feel so much freer in my mind as well when you do those
lighter,
like when you do a bit of culling,
like going through clothes and you're like, I haven't worn this for 5 years, but I might need it next weekend. So I'll actually keep it. Let me just pack that away. It's like a hoarder holding on to things. And I feel like when you detach from, like you say, there's a space left to feel with from your own cup. You realize you're the only thing that's going to stay here, like on this earth, for as long as obviously like your time is here. And that's what you need to bring your energy to. And I feel like when you're attaching to things, you're taken away from the present moment, and that's why it causes you suffering. Because if you're attached to things, you're not in the now present moment. You're thinking about, oh well, this is mine, and I have this later.
Yeah.
You're just so far detached from who you really are.
Yeah, and you sort of create a false sense of self related to that.
100%, which is ego.
Even. Yeah, which is ego.
Like you said, you're attached to something if when that thing goes, you feel like a part of your identity is being pulled out. Why? Because you've attached to it.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily a bad thing, I don't think, but that's not your identity. You need to understand, you need to have the realization, which I think it takes quite a while for people to get, is that it's not yours. You are you come with this body, like this vessel, your spirit, but the things, all these external physical things are not yours, and they will never be yours. And it took me a while to get my head around that. I think I read a book on it, and it's like, that's, even your house is not yours, is being gifted to you for a little time, and so just let go of it.
Gosh, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Hearing you say that again, that's like hit
it does.
again.
Yeah, and I feel like some people might be listening to this and will be like, no, I'm switching off, like I like my TV and I like this, I like my phone. But some people might be like, oh yeah, I understand. Once you realize the impermanence of things, think of like things as clouds and skies. They're constantly moving. Everything you have is constantly fleeting and being impermanent.
Yeah.
And so attaching onto it is essentially getting a lasso. Like, I feel like I'm using this invisible lasso to like try and cling it and bring it forward.
Yeah.
It's causing you more pain than it is happiness. Once you realize how detaching things are, you can, when it goes, you're not hurt.
Yeah.
When that relationship ends. But I feel like relationships are different because you're so intimate with that person.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's quite a difficult thing to let go of.
Yeah. Have you had any situations like that? Or
yeah, constant. I mean, constant of the idea of someone. I mean, I can't wait to do like a relationship thing, but the idea of someone I attach to. And then what that does for me is it takes away my sense of self, because I'm, like you said, what you just said, so hits me. I attach to this person, and the idea that I have of them, of like, they will make me happy. That's the worst thing. As soon as I start journaling and I'm like, well, I think this person will make me happy, I look at what I've just written and I'm like, no, I think they will make me happy.
Yeah.
As opposed to I can make myself happy.
Yeah.
I'm attaching to another person.
We don't necessarily want the thing, we want how we think the thing will make us
feel. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my God.
That hit me again.
Brain, mic drop, guys.
Wow.
Mic drop. We don't want the thing, we want
what we think
the thing will make us feel. We want that feeling. And then so what, like, how do you then sort that? You feel it yourself. You give yourself the feeling.
Yeah.
All these teachings just come back to self-love and which I think I'm still on a massive journey with, because I think a lot of things will make me happy. And then when you get them, they don't make you as happy as you thought it would.
Yeah, it's fleeting, isn't it? And then it's like climbing a mountain, and then you get to the top, and then you look and there's an even bigger mountain, and you're, I need to go over there now. It's just like chasing.
We are constantly chasing dreams and desires. We're never happy with where we are now. And so then we're like, what we were just attached to is like, we then let that go, because we're like, oh, bigger mountain, let me just climb up that next one. And universe is looking down going, hang on a minute, she was attached to like mountain tiny 5 minutes ago, and now she wants like mountain humongous.
Yeah.
Like, how does
that help ourselves?
It's scary, the greed of I want this, I want to climb the ladder.
But again, it's like, it's because we think it'll give us something in terms of how we feel about ourselves. We think, oh, if I just reach this goal, then I'll be happy, then I'll be all right. And then we get there and we're like, it gives us that instant gratification, but then we feel a bit hollow again, and we're like, what am I chasing now? Because life's a journey, not a destination. It's about the process more than any kind of outcome.
And we forget that, because we get so caught up in the midst of it all that we forget it is stop trying to get somewhere. And this is where the universe like comes into play, because I watched this video only recently of this girl saying that every time you're attached to something, universe will come in and throw you a curveball to be like, nah, that's not happening. Like a job or something that you want, if you're like, I need this job, I want this job, you will never get it. Universe will be like, no, because the universe knows the reason for you attaching to things. You can't lie to yourself. You can lie to everybody else and be like, no, I want it because it's good for other people. But if internally, you know, my ego's really feeding off of this like job that I'm going to get. Acting's the biggest one. All the jobs that I wanted and been attached to, I've never gotten. Ever.
And it's that thing of that energy of need is repulsive. So the more you need something, more you're desperate for something, that's just not in the right space to draw that to you.
And we're constantly being taught that. I had, when I booked a commercial, my first ever commercial back in the UK, I was auditioning like a dream role as an actor is like a role in a series or a TV show or something like that, and you want it. When you get an audition, you think, oh god, I really want this, I'm attaching to this, and it doesn't go your way. And then a commercial came through, and I was actually, my grandparents took me out to go and see Hamilton or something, and I was staying overnight in a hotel, and I got this tape, and I was like, oh, a bit annoyed, because I was like, oh, I'm off, I'm doing stuff. But I did the tape anyway, sent it off, and then I got a call back for it, and I didn't. And they said, can you make this date to do the dress rehearsals or something like that, or come and get costume fitting? And I actually couldn't make that day because I was meant to be up in London again. And I even put on the thing and I went, no, I can't make that date for a commercial. This was a few years ago. And I still booked that job. They were like, don't worry, we won't do a fitting then, like just come in the day before. Right. And I still went and booked that job.
Wow.
And I can't even tell you, my energy was so detached from it. Like I couldn't care less if I got this commercial or not. And it's like, as soon as my energy stopped needing something, it came in. Yeah. Straight away.
It happens so often, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like if you're watching this, I'm sure there's crossovers, not just with acting, but just in day-to-day life. Yeah. Like when you're like, oh, you're not needing it. And then it comes and it's like, oh, okay. And then you didn't expect it and suddenly it's there and it's like, oh.
The biggest life hack is to not want something but we can't help it because our ego is so strong and those impulses are like, I need this.
Yeah.
But as soon as you just let go of it, it will come in.
Yeah. And I think rather than focusing on trying to want things less, just try and put your energy into more like self-love, like giving yourself those things that you think this will give you. Find a way to give yourself those feelings, those emotions in a more positive way. Maybe.
Yeah, because you think of the energetic, like the actual energetics of it. If you're pushing, the thing that you're trying to get is like, whoa,
repelling.
Yeah, literally repelling. But when you're pulling back, it's like, oh, it works in relationships as well. If you really love someone, I'm sure you've had this, the amount of times I've gone after a guy or something and they're like so far away, like it's funny. And then, but when I'm like, oh, actually, no, I couldn't care less, they suddenly pop back in, whether it's 2 months or 3 months later.
Yeah.
I've had that countless times and they come in 3 months later and you're like, oh, I wasn't bothered, but okay.
Yeah. Well, it's like they say, don't they, that you're more like attractive when you're in a relationship because you're not on the search. You're just like,
you're chill. Yeah, you're more attractive when you're just not needy. Yeah. Neediness is so unattractive for people.
Yeah. So how do we know when it's time to let go of things? Like, what is that in your body? How do you know when you need to let go?
It's a feeling, isn't it? Because you can intellectualize something as much as you can, but it's a feeling of it's kind of like like putting on a backpack that's not yours, that's weighing you down. If you feel like something is not yours and you're like, I'm being so weighed down by this. I'm trying to think when I've had. It's when you feels like you're constantly fighting closed doors or something and battles, and it's just you're trying for this thing, and you're like, nothing's coming in. There's a reason, but I feel like you know, in the feeling of having this isn't working for me. Yeah, I don't know if it's similar to you or if you have more thoughts.
Yeah, I think it's a feeling thing. I think an energy doesn't lie. And I think your energy is very connected to your intuition. So if you're feeling your gut, like is something sapping you of energy or is something giving you energy?
Yeah. Is it an energy giver or a taker?
Yeah, because if it's a taker, it'll just kill your vitality, your happiness, like very quickly. And I think then you start to realize, oh my God, this is not giving me anything. This is actually taking
something from me.
Yeah.
And chasing that is like a losing battle. Whereas if you think, because then what's the thing of like, oh, if I hold on, I'll hold on and it will be okay, I'll hold on. But you'll be met with situations that kind of force you to let go. Yeah. If you don't let go of yourself, you're going to be met with tons of situations that will just go, you need to let go.
Yeah, like I said about health and stuff, your health will it might make you sick or something so that you have to pull away from it or... which is obviously on the more serious side of stuff, but also just uncomfortable situations might just keep happening, like patterns, and you realise this is happening again, and then it forces you to go, okay, I actually need to leave this job because my boss is mucking me around again and again and again and again. And then you go, okay, I need to let go of this.
Or relationships as well. That's huge. Like jobs and relationships are a massive one. If if you're holding on to a relationship that's not serving you, you'll see the signs. You might not see them at first, but things will come in. Like you say, you'll constantly be getting ill or something like that. If your body's at disease with something, like literally disease, like dis-ease with something that's in your life, it's a telltale sign you need to let go of that thing in your life, because things will happen surrounding that thing that you're attached to, whether that is a job or a promotion that you're pushing for and you're attached to, and it will force you to let go of it, and it hurts. It's an ego kick in the teeth. It's not going to be easy. And so I think the problem is when you let go of it and it hurts, you think you've done the wrong thing. Because you're like, well, I'm in pain, like this isn't right, like my heart hurts to let them go. That's maybe the biggest teller that you're doing the right thing to let go.
Like it's meant to be uncomfortable, because like going against the norm of what you've been doing, stepping out into the unknown is always going to be uncomfortable. But I think it is a case of working out what that situation is giving you energy wise. Like if I do an acting job, that is tiring, it's hard work, but it gives me energy.
That's so
fills
true.
me up.
You think it's exhausting, but it's weird, isn't it? Because it is exhausting. You're up at 5 a.m. shooting till 5 p.m. probably with an hour break or something. 12 to 15 hour days, but you're still at the end of it invigorated and lit up and like, I love this, I could go on for ages.
But like when I was working at this gin company doing sales and stuff, that was hard work. And I was rushing around or whatever, but it was taking my energy because it wasn't serving me. Do you know what I mean?
So interesting.
But then obviously you have to sometimes, you might have a job that is sapping your energy, but you need to do the job. And I think that's when it becomes more challenging, when there's something that's really difficult to let go of. But there is ways, I think, of rather than putting your energy into like complaining about it, getting down about it and stuff, you can use that energy into searching for a new job every morning for 20 minutes, or like doing a hobby that does fill your cup, that does give you energy back.
And you'll find that as you do that, things on the outside will kind of align with what you're doing. When you let go of something, you might think it's the end of the world. You might think, right, I'm done, life's ended, like the world has basically collapsed because this thing's gone. You won't know then, but maybe something will come in, maybe in a week's time, in a month's time, something will come in to replace that, and you'll think, oh my God, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. That wouldn't have happened if I didn't go and let go of that.
Exactly.
That thing. Like we have friends in like bad relationships or something, and they let go of it and they think, I'm never going to find someone new. 3 months later, they find the best person like that they want to marry or something. And it's, you have to let go of something to let something new to come in. As scary as it is.
Because whilst that thing is sapping your energy, you've got no energy to put into something new that will give you energy back. That will be more of an exchange.
It's like they say, isn't it? How do you expect to get something in if you're still... So your whole, like, take a wardrobe analogy, all your clothes are like old, like ragged clothes and things, and you want to get new clothes. How do you expect to get new clothes in if you're constantly wearing the old clothes and keeping them in your wardrobe? You can't. You need to let go of those old clothes and go and get the new clothes. But it's scary because, like we say, it's the unknown, and people, there's no security blanket in the unknown. There's none. But you've got to take the risk and trust that something will come.
And letting it be just, I think it's a natural part of our life force, is that we're meant to let go of things and kind of go into new seasons of our lives.
Like flowers dying and then rebirthing, like...
leaves falling off the trees.
As in getting new ones.
Like I think it feels like a negative thing, or like because it's uncomfortable, but it's actually a really important thing to do sometimes.
So it definitely comes back to just listening. If you think you're holding on to something out there, like you're listening to this podcast and you're thinking, I'm really holding on to this, but there's a pull to let go of it. But then your ego, you'll know if it's your ego because it's serving your identity, and you're thinking, well, no, because people think of me as like this person who's going to get that promotion or this supervisor at this job. If it's serving your ego, which you'll know, because it feels like really villainy, and it's like, oh no, this is superior and things. But if there's a part of you that's going, I need to let go, lean into that part that needs to let go. Listen to like your body, your gut, your intuition.
If you'll know.
And you'll keep fighting it. And things will just keep whacking you in the face, going, you fought this, stop, wrong choice. Because, like, universe isn't going to come down here and tell you, no, you need to let go. It needs you to learn the lessons to do it yourself.
Yeah, you've got to take the risk. And I think I think you will be rewarded for taking a risk, even if it's not for a while. Whereas if you stay in that job that's not serving you, then nothing's going to change. You know, nothing can change because your time and energy is filled.
Yeah. I've only heard stories of people saying, I've taken this risk and it was awful at the time, but 2 months later, the best thing came in. I've never heard people go, I've taken a risk, and my life went downhill. Because it's a conscious connection with the universe. You need to open the door and something will come in and provide for you.
Yeah.
And that's with trusting those kind of energies.
Yeah. Definitely. Oh, it's so interesting, isn't it?
Literally, I love talking about it. Just finding ways to stop yourself. I suffer every time I attach to something.
Yeah.
Every time I attach.
And it's again, it's a practice. I struggle with this all the time. There's things that I still find myself clinging on to that I've got to let go of. And it's painful and it's hard.
I still attach to things. I mean, you gave me this book the other day. You gave me this book that you've read and you've gone, have this book. And I never give my books that I've read to other people because I think my book and I've written in my book.
Yeah.
And then when you gave me to that to me, I'm now calling it my book that I'm reading. And it's no, that was Evie's book that she's reading, but someone else had that book before her. Do you know what I mean? It's like a parcel. So now I'm trying to detach from that and go, no, that's the book that Evie gave me. It's not my book. It's a book that's going to serve me for a period of time.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the thing. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Appreciating what that gave you, that season of your life or that job or that... Because it will have given you something, even if it's time to let go of it. Relationships. I'm getting really excited.
I'm getting really emotional. I'm that's so true. Appreciate what that thing gave you in that period of time. That relationship, so like you said, would have served you for a few years that you were in it, and it hurts to leave it, but that season, reason, lifetime thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And coming back to that house that you've had for 50 years or something, you may have birthed, had your children in it, you may have, your children may have been brought up in it.
Yeah.
Don't attach to the house, just appreciate what it gave you in that moment. Oh my God, I love that. So ended on that. Yeah,
definitely.
Just appreciate what these things give you in the moment and give yourself permission to pass it on. To see it as fleeting, to see I won't have this next week, next month, so I'm gonna let it go.
And acknowledging that in order for you to grow into the next phase of your life, you need to let go of this thing. And allow it and acknowledge what it's given you, but just let it go.
Yeah, and then you'll find your identity roots more in the true things, in who you are, rather in what you've got. You want your identity to be rooted in the person that you are, what you give to other people, rather than what you have.
Yes.
No one on their deathbed went, well, I had this, I had a mansion, I had a swimming pool. It's no, who were they?
Yeah.
What did they give to society? What kind of person were they to be around?
Exactly.
Let that be your focus. But that can only be your focus when you detach from all the things around you. It's the happiest people have the least stuff. I read that in a statistic thing the other day. The happiest people are the people with not a lot of things.
Yeah. Because like you say, it doesn't matter in the end, does it?
You think about it here, we're in a really cute kind of little village thing, and these kids, they're making fishing rods out of some string or something, and they're so happy.
Yeah.
They don't have iPads, they don't have phones, and they're just so happy with the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Because they're finding this life force. I know they're only kids, so they don't know they're doing it, but they're finding this life force within to make themselves happy.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, so beautiful.
That's so beautiful.
That is lovely.
So practice it today, guys. If you
just in little ways, give. If you're nearly done eating a sandwich, give. I was gonna say give the rest to someone. Give the rest to someone else. But just in little ways
to anybody else.
That's a bad example.
Take that jacket that you love, that's your jacket that you're attached to so badly, and you think, oh God, if this jacket went, I'd be so upset. Give it to someone else.
Yeah.
And it might hurt in the moment, but then you sit with it and you go, oh, I'm so proud. That jacket, 10 days later, it won't hurt anymore. And you'll think, I'm glad I gave it to someone else, because that served me for that period of time where it kept me warm and, I felt good in it. And something else will come in its place.
Yeah. It's just practicing impermanence.
Yeah.
Because it's going to go whether you want it to or not. It's going to hurt at some point. So if you can get ahead of the game.
If you can
practice letting go of it.
before universe comes and does it for you, do it yourself, and you'll be a lot happier. Just find there's so many ways to detach from things. Yeah, and you can just find peace with having the bare minimum.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of. God, that's so beautiful.
Yeah, a nice thing to end on. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Leave a comment, a like, share it, whatever platform you're watching it on. It really helps us out. And connect if you find any of this stuff relatable.
Yeah.
Or if you're practicing any of this stuff, let us know.
Because we love to hear about. You're only going to learn from other people. Tell us what you're detaching from. If there's things that you were attached to, and now you can find yourself letting go of it.
Yeah.
And what you've learned from it. Just drop a comment and let us know, because we love to talk about it. And any other topics you want to hear about as well.
Yes. Any ideas for future episodes? Just pop them down below, or message us on Instagram or TikTok.
Yeah. Cool. The message. Thanks for listening, guys.
Thank you.
We're going to go and detach now.
Yeah.
I'm going to go clear out my wardrobe.
Just get rid of everything.
Go give into things on the street. Here's my dresses.
Hope you have a lovely day. We'll see you in the next one.
Yeah.
Bye.